Well, hey, everybody. I'm pre-recording Brown Bag Lunch for you this week because I have to go on the road and help some clients. So you are seeing this Wednesday morning, 11 o'clock Central Time, and I'm Dr. John Sherk, and that means this is Brown Bag Lunch. And I'm going to talk with you today a little bit about clear communication. This is a very foundational skill that just goes with being a professional. And very often air conditioning mechanics are thought of as not clear communicators. And so let's work on it. All right. On top of that, if you are a supervisor or a manager, Gallup, the research company, their engagement research, they do a lot of it, says that when frontliners, and this is millions of people who have taken this survey, when frontliners are given the statement, I know what is expected of me at work, only 50% of frontliners say strongly agree to that, right? So maybe you're the exception, but it's not likely. It's much more likely that you have half of your workforce kind of not sure what's expected of them. Okay. They might be right, but they're still guessing. So let's talk about clear communication. There are 5 components of clear communication: data, judgment, feelings, want, and action. And now here's how I want to break this down. Data and judgment are the more spoken parts of your communication. Feelings, want, and action tend to be more unspoken. Okay. But if they're not aligned, you're going to be unclear. You're going to say, my words were very clear, but your feelings, what you seem to want, and the action you take is in opposition to those words, and that creates lack of clarity. Okay. So data versus judgment. This is pretty straightforward. Data is it's 80 degrees outside. Judgment is it's hot outside. Okay. So when you're communicating, make sure that data is involved. If you are a supervisor and you sit someone down and you say, look, I just don't feel like you're committed here, that's completely disempowering to that frontliner. You need data. Well, what makes you think, well, it just seems like, what are they supposed to do with that? You need to give them literal behaviors that they have done that communicate to you they're not committed. You know, when you're in the meeting and you're always on your phone and you kind of harumph when someone says something you don't like and you roll your eyes, that's the data. My judgment is you're not committed. Okay. But that's the way to have the conversation. So data is only the measurable facts of a situation. A judgment are opinions about why. So if you ask the question, what is it about blank? What is it about that customer? What is it about that piece of equipment? What is it about this process, the way it's set up? The answer to that question are the judgments that you have about it. And it's fine to begin with your judgment. Oftentimes your gut is right, but you need to backfill it with actual data. Otherwise, you don't know. Okay. Now, the more unspoken but observed components of communication: feelings, want, and action. Feelings are just that, the emotions: angry, sad, afraid, happy, ashamed, embarrassed. Those are all emotions. So again, any of these 3 that are often unspoken can be articulated. They can be spoken. They're just often not, and it's a source of confusion for people who are trying to receive your communication. If you are very demonstrably angry or sad or super happy, and it's going to show through, you have to acknowledge that in your situation. If a key employee quits and you seem super happy about it, and you're like, oh, this is terrible, but you're obviously super happy about it. You see what I'm saying? That disconnection creates lack of clarity. What are you really saying? Right. The next one is clarifying want. This is very often, everybody's had this experience where someone's talking to you and it seems like they want something, but they're not really saying what they want. So I'm wondering, what are we really talking about here? You feel the lack of clarity in that? So you have to be in touch with what you want. And especially if you're a manager, this is very common. Young managers, very common for technicians who get positions of authority. It's very difficult, if it's not something you're used to just say out loud, here's what I want. It can feel rude. There's about 20% of people who have no problem saying what they want, but the other 80%, it's a challenge. So here's what I want. And instead of hinting at it and hoping they get it, just saying out loud, I want you to go see that customer. I want you to apologize. Right. And not make people try to guess. Okay. The last one then is action. This is just what it sounds like. It is what I'm doing aligned with what I'm saying? Or am I saying one thing and clearly doing something different? And this is a real problem for some people in leadership. Sometimes leaders think they're the exception to the rule. And believe me, those actions speak much louder than anything you have to say. People see it, people know it. Depending on how egregious it is, they'll think of you as being a fraud and having no authority and don't respect you. If it's more minor, then they'll just be confused, because it seemed like he really wanted us to do it, but he's not doing it. He really wanted us to clean up our desk, but look at his office. He really wanted us to get the trucks cleaned up, but look at his truck. Like, what your actions are also communicating without words. Okay. So this is the breakdown. Think it through. There's a lot. Maybe I'll do some more on these because there's a lot more here to unpack. But data and judgment is more the content of your words. What your feelings are, what you want, and what actions you take are the more unspoken part. Usually they can be articulated, but usually. And if you account for all 5 of these, you will definitely create clarity of communication with your people. All right. My name is Dr. John Sherk. This has been Brown Bag Lunch, and really